Hello all! So I've been out today on my a new pair of snowshoes that I'm trying out on my local hill, having a bit of a lockdown leg stretch. My local hill's Ben Rinnis, and it's pretty stunning. However, it's blowing about 80 miles an hour on the top, so I've run heroically away. And I thought what might be nice to film a time, so it's not just a wasted day, is to just go through the contents of my rucksack. So I packed today as if I was leading a winter ML sort of walking day. So yeah, so let's dive on in. So here we are. What I've got packed today is basically a normal winter hill walking rucksack. And I've packed it, I suppose, as if I'm leading a group. So I've got like a group shelter big enough for my group and a group first aid kit. But the majority of the stuff is exactly what I would normally take if I was just out for a hill walk on myself. Cool, so yeah, to start off with, what am I wearing? So my normal winter boots, Gore-Tex over trousers, and underneath I've got a pair of power stretch leggings, and then obviously Gore-Tex on top, and then a fleece and a wee thermal top. So yeah, pair of gloves I'd normally be wearing, and obviously a woolly hat. And a pair of poles. I've got a pair of normal ski poles today because I've been out on the snowshoes, but they'd normally be, I suppose, a pair of collapsible poles. So yeah, so this is a 30-litre rucksack. It's got a little bit of extendability. I think it goes to about 35-40 litres. It's a fairly neat 30-litre bag, but as you can see, you've got everything in it. So on the outside, obviously, my ice axe. I'm not really going to talk about ice axes in this video. I'll talk a little bit more detail about different types of axe and what you need, certainly as a winter ML and a winter walk and things like that. And then everything else is packed inside the bag, nice and neat, no bits flapping around or anything like that, so it's not banging me in the face like it would have been today. It's pretty windy up high. Cool, so let's dig in. So this is, I suppose, a rucksack without a normal lid pocket at the top. It's just one of these roll top ones. Let's see what we got in here. So right at the top is my packed lunch. Yeah, and some juice. And I'm not a flask person. I don't take a flask into the hills even in winter, but you could have a flask of juice. I just make up hot juice each day. And then a pair of goggles, either clear if it looks like it's going to be pretty vile and poor viz, or maybe a pair of sort of ski goggles with a bit of tint in them to protect the eyes. And I keep those in a little waterproof stuff sack, so that they're not getting damp at all. You could get one of those proper protective cases, but yeah, just something to make sure that they're kept dry, they don't get wet. Because the last thing you want is to pull them out and they're already damp and they're going to steam up. Yeah, so a pair of goggles, pretty essential in Scotland. Then what else have I got? In the top here I've got another pair of gloves. Yeah, so if my first pair of gloves get wet, these are a big sort of burly, warm pair, but I can still, you know, hold an ice axe in them, use my compass and things like that. So yeah, a pair of spare gloves. And it might be on a really vile day, if it's going to be that horrible day where it's sort of around zero, so you're going to get wet, and there's maybe wet snow or even rain in the forecast, you're going to take some more gloves than just 2 pairs. Crampons. Obviously in a crampon bag, fitted to my boots. So yeah, cool. Those crampons. And then in here I've got a a mid layer, what I call, so a little synthetic mid layer. This is the Rab Cirrus Flex, I think. Yeah. So yeah, mid layer. It's got a hood. You don't necessarily need a hood on, but yeah. So if it's getting pretty chilly up high, then I might choose to pop that on, but it's still for when I'm moving around. It's not a sort of a stationary jacket. And then what else have I got in here? So I've got a shovel. Yeah, and this one's got an extendable handle. Makes life much easier for digging, and metal blade. So there's a lot of chat about whether you know, a shovel is necessary. Do I take it all the time? If I'm honest, I don't take it all the time. It's part of my winter ML kit though. Super useful for you know, digging a shelter if you had to, excavating some snow just to have a look at the snow pack history. You could even just use it to build a sort of a quick wall for lunch if it's really blowy, and all those sorts of things. And obviously it has, you know, if you had to dig out people from avalanches and things like that, there is that option as well. But yeah, so for me, when I'm sort of doing my winter ML work, then a shovel's pretty standard. And obviously if I'm going snow holing and things, that's a no-brainer. Do you have to have an extendable handle? No. If you're not thinking you're going to do much digging, then maybe not have an extendable handle. But yeah, shovel's pretty useful. And loads of different shovels out on the market, and maybe having a look at different shovels is a separate video. Cool. What else have we got in here? So then I've got a big synthetic belay jacket. Yeah, so this is if I have to go stationary really. So this is a really big beefy one. So yeah, again, synthetic over down's going to be better because it still works better when it gets wet. And that's my sort of go-to bit of kit. Should I have to go stationary, you know, someone in my group hurts themselves and they can't move, for whatever reason, we get pinned down by the weather or whatever. So this is, you know, it goes on over the top of everything else. So it's worth buying them a little bit too big in that sense. And then a couple of other things. So down here at the bottom, I've got my sort of spares or emergency bag. And then here, what have I got? I've got my head torch fully charged, ready to go. I've got a pair of emergency mitts. Yeah, so sort of really easy to put on if my hands have got cold or someone in my group's hands have got really cold. Yeah, so pretty easy there. And then not much else in here. I've got some Compeed in case anyone's suffering from blisters, and I've got a spare lace. Lace is just super useful for when, you know, you get to the car park, having driven 2 hours to the mountains, you go to do your boots up and the lace breaks. So yeah, having a spare lace is super useful. And then first aid kit, like I said, this is my sort of group first aid kit. So it's for what I refer to as big sick. So like it's not got lots of little plasters and Compeed that's in that bag there. This is for when people have sort of genuinely hurt themselves, in the hope that I don't really have to use it very often or ever. And that just means that I don't have to sort of keep on checking and sort of refilling it and things like that. So I only check it if it's been used in a major incident, and then once a year I'll go through it, just make sure things are still in date. Things like glycostop hypergel it goes out of date, so you don't want to make sure that's okay. But yeah, and this is really good. It's not a Life Systems first aid kit. I just bought the bag because I generally find it's better to make your own first aid kit. But yeah, but it's a really nice bag because it's waterproof and really durable. It doesn't get crampons through it and that sort of stuff. Cool. What else have I got? It's my group shelter. It's a little lightweight group shelter, but this is a 6-person shelter, and you can actually get 6 people in it. It's pretty lightweight, so it's not sort of thing that I'd use for lunch every day. This is more emergency bit of kit. If I was going to use a shelter on a regular basis, you know, then I'd probably take something a little bit burlier, a little bit tougher. Rab make one that's reasonably tough. So yeah, shelter. And then here I've got a blizzard bag, yeah, and I just put it in one of these stuff sacks just to protect it because they're vacuum packed, so I don't want it getting holes in, so this just protects it a little bit, keeps it nice and compact. But this is one of the Blizzard active bags, so yeah, super useful. And that's pretty much it. The other thing I've got, which I would say I don't normally carry, is an Avalanche Probe. So that's not I suppose a normal hill walking bit of kit, but when I'm working as a winter ML, if my group want to look at, you know, emergency shelters or something like that, or I'm looking for somewhere to sort of dig in, then maybe having a probe, which weighs absolutely nothing really, is useful to test how deep the bank is before I start digging. What I don't want to do is like dig 1.5 meters in and then realise I've hit rock, whereas I can test that and go down to sort of 3 meters to make sure that there's enough depth. And that's pretty much it. Obviously what I haven't said is in here I've got my compass and my map, and with my first aid kit is a spare. I actually carry a spare head torch and a spare compass in there, and the spare compass I carry is full size. And then up here I've got my mobile phone, so yeah, and that's got my GPS on, should I need a GPS. And it normally sits in my rucksack turned off, so the battery isn't wasted, but I was using it just to help with set up the filming today. So, yeah. Cool, so there's all my kit. Like I said, it's just a very quick what's in my bag, and I think what I'll do is I'll go through and make some other videos of just, you know, what bits of kit. So have a look at crampons, have a look at ice axes, maybe even have a look at the contents of a first aid kit. But for now, hope that was helpful, and just gives you a bit of a heads up of what you want to have in your bag as a mountain leader, as a winter mountain leader, or just as a winter hill walker. Thanks for watching.